This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded September 22nd, 2014. Episode 217, Edifying Edison's Energy.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
Just us again.
You keep bringing that up, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, we're scaring them away.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get back to it eventually. We've been busy and lazy and, you know.
I think the latter is the real one, yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah. Oh, goodness. Yep. Speaking of which...
Speaking of lazy...
Speaking of lazy, there's been a whole bunch of comments recently. I just copped it again on Twitter just before the show about, yes, I'm going to have a rant, about people who complain that I'm lazy, which I am, fair enough, you know. But
all good engineers are, right?
Exactly. That the blog has changed and blah blah blah. It's not as good as it used to be, and I've turned my back on
EEV blog
what
hipsters.
It used to be. Yeah, exactly.
I was there before it was cool.
It's just come on, people. It's just a broken record, really. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's totally unwarranted, and I have
you
proof.
Proved it with a graph, as an engineer would do,
I
right?
got some data because somebody asked this on. It came up. There was a big thread on one of my previous recent YouTube videos, and somebody just out of the blue, commented that I can't remember, but yeah, his glory days are gone, and I'm just doing mailbag and tear down, and I don't do educational tutorial videos anymore. And I went, okay. Fair question. Let's go look
take
at
it to task, yeah.
Let's go actually look. Is it just in your imagination, or has, are things really changed? So I went and actually looked through my first 50 episodes, which many people regard as the glory days, the golden years of the blog when it was the best, in quote marks. I think it was
the best,
the worst.
Video quality.
Yeah, exactly. And video, audio, yeah, it was pretty awful. Anyway, so I went through the first 50 videos and I listed through, what topics that I talked about and stuff, and I marked them off in all different categories. And I went through my last 50 videos. And as it turns out, all the talk about, I don't do tutorials and technical videos anymore is pretty much not true. I do, yeah, it's kind of true. They have dropped in the number of them, but that's to be expected given that I've now got regular segments like Teardown and Mailbag, which is incredibly popular. And if you don't like Mailbag, well, sorry, too bad, don't watch them. There's a lot of people who do. So, I'm going to continue to do them. So anyway, naturally, given that I now do a larger range of videos, it's natural that, the technical stuff is going to drop a little bit, but it hasn't dropped by a huge amount, which people seem to think. So, anyway, no. So
that was your rant, huh?
Come on, guys. That's it. Yeah.
The rants aren't quite like they used to be, folks. I have to say,
not.
He used to be so much more impassioned and.
Well,
I remember a time when the EV blog rants were something to behold and.
Well, that's true. I have stopped the rants. The rants have stopped. There's a lot of reason why I can't do the shouty, angry ones anymore because I've got neighbours now, They can even hear me doing this show, almost certainly. It's not like I can shout and scream and go red in the face like I used to in my garage.
Well, there you go.
So, yeah, sorry about that. But, yeah, not too many things have changed at all. And it comes down to psychology. People always remember... a couple of really good episodes that they particularly liked and thought that I did them all the time. And the longer the time period goes, they just remember with fonder times. It's I once caught a fish this big,
Yeah.
and the fish just gets bigger and bigger with time, and so does my supposed glory days and what my blog was really about, because people seem to think they know what my blog was always about, and you're wrong there too. It was never an educational channel. It was never a tutorial channel. You're just wrong. I'm sorry, but
it was whatever Dave wanted it to be.
Exactly. It was designed as just a weekly kind of show where I just talked about anything, random stuff that I happened to be working on something that popped into my head or whatever. It was never a tutorial or educational channel. So, yeah, these people are just wrong. And anyway, it's not many people are complaining, but when somebody starts, then everybody jumps on it. By everybody, I mean, the few other dozen who are who are ticked off, or sort of a bit, yeah. And it's the same old thing, you can't please everyone. It's impossible. And, yep. Anyway. There were some interesting stats, though. Somebody pulled all the stats of all the technical engineering channels, right, on YouTube. They pulled the stats down of, the likes, dislikes, and stuff like that. I'm not sure if you saw that. It's in the forum.
No, don't think so.
Oh, I'll have to link to it. And, and it turns out that I've got a 3 point, I think, I don't have it in front of me, but it's from memory, a 3.3% thumbs down to thumbs up, like to dislike ratio. And I went, holy crap, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
I expected a lot more, but no, somebody ran a script which pulled all the numbers, and it turns out the blog that does the best is Alan Wolke's
oh, yeah, right.
blog, which is not surprising because he does very niche, so it turns out it's, the results aren't really surprising. There is one surprise, which I'll talk about. The ones that stick to their niche, that sort of start out in a very, narrow field, just doing like sort of, short technical educational videos like Alan kind of does. And really, he hasn't changed the formula. So, when you subscribe, that every video is going to be exactly what you subscribed for, kind of thing, or almost.
Right. Well, yeah, so, and they're always good
and
too.
And that's not surprising. Whereas my channel's never been like that. It's always been, I've got like 10, I think it's at least 10 different segments that I do, kind of, or topics that I might kind of touch on. I do reviews, tutorials, technical stuff. I do rants, myth-busting advice, stories, show visits. I do interviews. I do off-topic stuff. I do miscellaneous stuff. I do retro stuff. I do teardown stuff. I do repair stuff. I do dumpster diving. And so naturally, my channel is going to be the worst in that respect of trying to, please everyone, because, somebody might subscribe just for my tutorials, or they might subscribe just for my product reviews, or they might subscribe, just for my retro teardowns. And, so, sorry, you just got to accept the fact that it's a general channel, and I can't always make videos that you like.
You never do, man.
No, exactly. No,
actually, I did like your video on the piezo stuff, or not piezo, the Peltier
Thank you very
stuff.
much.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
what was
that was
what
fun.
was the prompting? Just for getting? Was it because you got that kid?
Yeah, that was just like my blog always has been. Yeah, spontaneous thing. I'm kind of sort of working on a project that requires something like this. I can't talk about it.
Well, obviously, it's not a beer cooler.
No, it's not a beer cooler. No, it's a fun little side project that I'm working on with someone else. And
cool.
Anyway,
okay.
We just wanted to know, or how much, just as ballpark, what we could get out of these little Peltier coolers for a given temperature differential. For amount of heat pumped through, and it's not much is the answer.
Well, that's always the key is moving down the the amount that you need to use then, right? It's storing it efficiently and then using less of it, just kind of sipping off that cap or the battery that you store it in order to...
Yep.
I mean, that's just energy harvesting in general, right?
Yeah, exactly. But, it turns out you can get like milliwatt or two,
Oh,
like,
really? That low?
It's milliwatts, right? It's not hundreds of milliwatts, it's milliwatts, for like a 40 millimeter by 40 millimeter size Peltier device. Which a lot of blogs get this wrong. A lot of people who talk about these get them wrong. If you're using it to generate power, it's no longer a Peltier device.
Yeah,
it's a CBEC device. It's a CBEC module. So they're just two entire. So you're using the term incorrectly. If you say, "Oh, my Peltier, I've got a Peltier generator," then no, Peltier
fraud.
It takes power. Yeah, exactly. It's just totally wrong, But But people know what you're talking about. It is the common term. So that's why I put it in my title. Because I'm a search. A search word whore.
Oh, right.
So a search term whore. So I have to put Peltier in the title, even though it's. I'm using it to generate power. Anyway, fascinating stuff.
Yeah, definitely. This is, and I'm surprised at the circuit too. Like, I mean, it seems like it's pretty low part count too. Like the 3108, the LTC.
Well, not as low as it can be because it needs an external transformer, of course, to.
I just mean like, but it's not like there's
voltage.
a lot of setting. I mean, like you probably set the caps, right? But you're not like setting resistors.
Yeah, no. It's
and it seems like over time it's going towards that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. There's a specialized chip for everything. And these, that's just one of the specialized chips that Linear Tech make. They've got another one that, has got maximum power point circuitry inside of it.
Yeah.
That does,
cool.
The maximum power point tracking so that if people don't know how that works, it's how that it doesn't allow your input voltage to fall when you draw too much current. It'll scale back the output current and just sort of, if your circuitry's allowed, if your circuitry can do that, then the load that you're powering can handle that, then it can actually scale back the amount of power it can deliver so that you're always operating the maximum power point of your solar cell or your Peltier device or your,
the
other
maximum
energy
power you're
harvesting.
delivering, the maximum voltage you're delivering.
The maximum power point. There's where you'll get maximum efficiency out of your device.
Oh, okay.
Because if you draw too much current, the voltage
Yeah.
is going to drop and your efficiency drops. Kind of,
Right, I'm thinking of the curve right now. I've always seen that for solar cells where it's like they draw the curve and it looks like a square with like the upper right-hand corner kind of got rounded off, right?
Yep.
It's usually what it looks like.
Yep.
But you want to always operate on like the curvy part, right? That's usually the max power point.
Yep. Yep.
But I don't understand why they would scale that power.
all of your home solar, all of your good home solar inverters have like a maximum power point tracker.
Right.
So it tries to keep the circuit operating where the solar cells have their maximum efficiency. So
Okay. Huh, interesting.
Anyway, you can get energy harvesting chips that do the same, and it's fantastic what you can get these days. But that thing operates at 20 millivolts, dude.
I know, that's crazy.
20 millivolts input voltage, and then it bootstraps itself, and then with the little flyback transformer, and then boom, it's great. 20 millivolts. That's magic. That's black magic,
Well, that comes down to the diode, right? That's usually what the big deal is there, like to have a low drop in a diode or something like that.
Well, no, it's the topology of the switching. Like, it's got an internal MOSFET which switches the external transformer, the step-up transformer, and then it can bootstrap from that. But in terms of diodes, yes, internally, like it's got a synchronous rectifier. So it's got a regular diode internally, so when it starts up, it uses that. But they're pretty inefficient, They're,
right, yep.
You've got a certain amount of loss, right? So, so once it starts up and you've got enough voltage to bootstrap it and then power the internal circuitry, then the internal circuitry can then power a synchronous rectifier that's in parallel with the internal diode, which then increases the efficiency of the circuit. It's really great. I love that sort of stuff. Nice, tricks inside these chips to make them more efficient. But even then, the efficiency of these energy harvesting chips can be, for the Peltier device, can be anywhere from 5 to 60%. So it can be as low as 5%.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. And curiously, the efficiency drops the higher the input voltage you have. As I said, like there is that maximum efficiency point, of the curve, and it's like right down at the low voltage end. So if you've got a fantastic Peltier or Seebeck device that generates a higher voltage, that can actually be worse because the chip's not actually designed for that. It's optimized for the low end.
Yeah, well, because you're scaling it up by so much too, right? The 1 to 100 turn things here.
Yep.
Probably got some big spikes. Then you have to.
And the efficiency is going to change with your turns ratio. So they've got different graphs in the data sheet that show the various efficiency for but even then, like there's not enough graphs in there to really get decent data from. So you have to just build it up, suck it, and see.
Yep. Which
you get. And this was only a first stage test. I've got to do more testing in the actual real environment that I want to use this thing in, because that tells you everything. You can kind of sort of extrapolate. So this is ballpark, just sort of, is it really feasible? And it turns out, yeah, it might be feasible. So, real test to follow.
Cool, man. That's great.
Yep. Unfortunately, they won't be on video because that would give the game away. So. Right.
Yeah, I'm sure your product is differentiated and so different, and just no one's ever seen it before, right?
That's right. It's not my idea. It's a friend's idea.
I know.
So, yeah.
All I'm thinking. So I was thinking of the 30 different 3D printers I saw at Maker Faire this weekend.
You went to Maker Faire. See, I convinced you to go, and you went.
You did.
Yeah,
yeah.
You were going to sit home and do nothing.
Well, no, I was going to sit home and do work.
You were going to sit on your nerdy white ass and,
Yeah. No, I was going to sit home and do work, and then I found out my wife was actually going to be out of town, and I was like, well, I could go there and, see people, and I could stay with a friend, so that made it cheaper, and
the company was paying for it anyway.
Yeah, great, awesome.
God.
So, yeah, you convinced me. Way to go, man, way to go. And I'm sorry if anyone was there
You're welcome.
And listening last week and didn't catch the tweet saying that I would be going, but I was there. So it was good. It was good. It was a lot of fun. And a lot of, like I said, a lot of
3D printers.
A lot of 3D printers, yeah. I was telling people this weekend. So Ryan O'Hara came up from Virginia, right? O'Hara RP,
Yep.
O'Hara ARP. Former guest of the show, and so we were hanging out, and we came up with a new concept for a 3D printer.
Right, put it on Kickstarter, try and make it for $300, and
No.
500,000, and then fail.
This is actually a bit more expensive, but it actually involves dynamics as well. What you do is you build a 3D printer, and then you load it onto a trebuchet, and then you launch it over a shark.
Yes. It'd be awesome if it could catch it, bring it back, and then shoot it over the shark again.
There you go. Yeah.
And then it can become a perpetual motion machine.
Perpetual motion machine too. Yeah.
Yeah. Which of course when I did the Peltier video there, all the free energy nuts come out and go, hey, we can. Yeah. What if you put 20 in series? Can you know? Right. Yeah. The laws of thermodynamics, dude.
Well, and of course we put on Indiegogo, not Kickstarter, right?
Oh yeah, of course, and you'd use the flexible funding. Yeah.
So I got kind of some odd looks. So I talked to these folks from firstbuild.com. You ever heard of First Build? It's like the ones. No. I don't know what they're affiliated. I think they're affiliated with GE Appliances, but not like part of it officially. But like GE Appliances, as big as down in Louisville, Kentucky, or Lexington or whatever's down there. And basically, so this group, First Build, put out this new thing called the Green Bean, right? So it's what was the one side? It might have been serial Ethernet, maybe. I don't remember what the one side interface is. I should probably look this up, But basically, then it's like an isolated interface to some kind of protocol that GE set up. It's like a serial protocol, so you can basically talk to a fridge or other types of appliances. The closest one. What? If you wanted to.
I really want to talk to my fridge.
Hey, fridge. How are you?
His name is Bruce, and I talk to every morning. I open it, how you going, Bruce? Got a beer for me?
It's all right. Right?
Unbelievable.
I think there are some legitimate uses, though, for that. And, it's interesting because it's like an OBD2 port, right? So that's like the car port you can plug into.
Right.
And kind of get like diagnostic type stuff. And it's the same kind of thing. So, okay, that's interesting. That's what they're doing. That's a cool thing. But then I saw they're like, oh, we're launching on Indiegogo later this year. And I'm like, can you guys not do that? And if anyone's from Indiegogo, you should know why I'm saying that. And everybody else knows it already. And I was just like, that it's a cool little project, right? And I think people will be interested in it. And but until people stop putting crap on Indiegogo, it's not going to get any better. And that automatically disqualifies them in my mind. Now Kickstarter is not much better. Or not worse necessarily, but I told them they're going to get a lot of press for it. Why not just put it on your own site? Do like a self-starter or any other kind of, there's so many types of crowdfunding these days.
Yeah.
But who knows? I got a lot of awkward looks, though. Apparently, that kind of feedback is not welcome at Maker Faire.
Oh, right, okay.
I like your product, but your way of making money is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hurt some feelings, apparently, and I was a little off that day.
This is what I told the Australian government when I met up
you
with
talked
them
to them
last Wednesday. Yeah.
How'd that go?
Yeah, they wanted my opinion wanted my professional opinion on crowdfunding and all that sort of stuff. And I talked to them for like an hour and a half and told them everything. And they were very surprised at a lot of stuff I had to say. And they're taking it away and they're going to write a report and they're going to...
Oh, a report. Oh, yes. We have top men looking at it, Dave.
Who? Top
men.
If people don't know the movie, well then, sorry, but we're not going to tell you. If they don't know the movie reference.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's
speaking
good, though.
of which...
that's nice that they listen. That's cool, and that they asked you in.
Yep.
So Dave is now an ambassador for the technology side of Australia.
That's right.
What group were you talking to? Who were you talking to, though?
The Department of Industry, blah, blah.
Okay. So like just more economic group, not like a technology group necessarily.
Oh, yep. It's all to do with the business economic side of things. I don't know. Yep.
Okay,
anyway,
cool.
It turns out that the government's been a bit proactive on this, and they apparently, somebody left a comment here that one of the we're one of the world leaders they've generated a report on Australian crowdsource equity funding. The Australian government commissioned this report, and it's lengthy. It's like 244 pages. It's listed on my blog just yesterday, if you want to go have a read of that.
Okay.
I'm sure it's a great bedtime reading. I haven't read it yet.
Right.
But apparently, it's really in-depth. It's got proposals of how to, put, government framework in place to actually promote crowdfunding and et cetera, et cetera. And apparently it's a world-leading report in this respect. So... I don't know.
I have to say, I don't have a lot of...
That's what somebody on Twitter said.
Yeah,
so,
I don't have a lot of faith in just reports. Like, I mean, it's nice that they're thinking about it, but it's like...
Yeah, but the governments need
filed.
that, right? That's how the government do things based on research reports, right?
Oh, I guess so.
The government want to do something on crowdfunding. They commission a report. The report, an impartial report. They make recommendations, and the government either goes, "Yeah, that sounds good. We'll do it," or we won't. That's
is that how the government works? Is that how our government works?
Well, okay, right, yeah, no, your government works on money.
There's a report, and then someone pays for that report to go away quietly, and then they do whatever they want to anyways. That's just my take on it. I don't know. I don't want to get into that.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, no, we'll link people into that,
anyway.
though. That's interesting.
Yep. So that's fascinating. So, yeah, that was all good. And then straight after that...
Oh, yeah. How did that go?
I had a Tesla test drive.
Yeah, and?
The video's up on my second channel. If people want to watch it, 35 minutes of me driving around in a Tesla. And it's pretty awesome.
And?
It's as good as you think. And no, I'm not buying one.
Oh. Everybody said that
it's
right
over
there.
$100,000.
You're making good money now. Come on, man. It's an investment. It's a business expense because you get to, tear it down. Carefully, Dave.
Well, see, that's the interesting thing, right? Because normally, right, a car is not a write-off as a business expense. Like you can deduct, devalue it over
miles
time,
you drive.
and all that sort of crap, right? And there's various government, tax laws regarding, the depreciation of business cars and all that sort of thing, right? But yeah, I was thinking of going to my accountant and saying, hey, what if I spent, $50,000 on this thing and I used it in a video? Is that tax deductible? And he'd probably say yes.
I can tell you the answer, though. The answer is it's deductible, at least in the States. It's deductible for what you use it for business purposes. So if you take it out joyriding on the weekends and you're not doing a review in it.
No, totally. But if I said I'm buying a $50,000 instrument that I'm going to review on my blog, is that tax deductible? And he'd say, yes, absolutely, of course it is. There's no limit to your stupidity in how much you pay to get one video's worth of material. And and then I'm thinking about asking him that, and then, by the way, it's a car.
Yeah, right.
And watch him just, like, the eyes roll back in his head and go, but...
Well, you should make sure you say, this is a piece of electronic equipment. Right, you have to say something that's like even more
exactly. I know. Yeah. like you do at work when you want to order those foreign order parts. On the purchase order, that farting toy that you want to get. Is a transducer.
Yeah.
Right, and because I'd probably be the only one in the country who would want to or had a valid reason for buying a car and then just expensing it off in one video. Like,
maybe.
The tax department,
all those
would have
reviews
to
that were
get
done in the States, you got to make sure it's all the same now, but it's down under, right? When it's on the right side drive.
Yeah. So, anyway, maybe I'd have to do continuous videos of, I'm driving to work today.
Yeah.
Drive type rants are back.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
By mandate of the tax department.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway,
list you put together at the beginning of the show, you would that would change, huh? 365 videos a year.
Yes. Drive time.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Anyway. Yes. Fascinating. Bloody business, taxes, all that crap.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time on that.
I saw the Intel Edison in person. Have you looked at the specs on that thing?
Right, I've looked at it. It's the new. They've just released a new one, haven't they?
Yeah, so it's like a Rev 2, and I got to talk to the guys a little
Rev
bit
2.
about this.
Yep. Right.
But it's got. So I remember this from the first time around, right? So the first time around they did it like an SD card form factor, kind of like the electric
But they didn't
amp.
release that, did they? They said they were going to, but did they ever actually release it as an SD card?
That's a good
Form
question.
factor?
I don't know.
I don't think they did. I think that was some of the, people were sort of up in arms about that.
Oh, okay. Well, and so this one, I didn't. So really, I didn't pay attention prior to this. I didn't really know the spec difference and stuff like that. So they said it has 2 Atom processors, and I don't really know what the difference is here too. 2 Atom processors and a Quark on it. So the Atoms are like the ones that are in like netbooks and stuff like that, kind of like the low power, but pretty decent processing power. It seems like for an embedded type solution. And then the Quark's like a microcontroller, but that's not going to be. They don't have any of the firmware written for that yet, so you can't actually like write code for it yet.
Right.
But yeah, this thing like runs Linux and has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and blah 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 blah, and you can interface it to, they had the requisite Arduino breakout board and stuff like that, and interesting little kit. I mean, like and SparkFun is doing a bunch of it too. Like I saw Mike Horde was there, right. Former guest of the show as well. A lot of former guests of the show there. So SparkFun is doing stuff with them as well, and. So yeah, I don't know because I asked So my first question was, what's the sleep current on this thing, right? Right. What would you guess it is, Dave?
Oh, I don't know. How many sleep modes does it have? Probably has more than one.
This was the lowest sleep mode. How about that?
No, I don't know. It's probably awful, right?
It was 20 milliamps, yeah.
Yeah, right. Right, milliamps. Yeah, I was going to say like a few hundred microamps.
Right, yeah, and maybe
right,
there are lower ones, or
maybe
they'll be able to go into different sleep modes later, but I started to think about that, I'm like, how big does that battery have to be? You know, like that's the main thing. Like this thing is like really tiny and powerful and like awesome, but you know the example they were showing was like a portable application, and that's the only thing I didn't understand. Like that seems like you'd have to carry around like a huge battery for that, or recharging a bunch.
20 milliamps at what voltage? What core voltage does it operate at?
I'm guessing 3.3, but I didn't ask. So, but that's you know. Yep. If it's at 3.3, that's
sure
still...
it's not. I'm sure it's
still...
lower than that. I'd be surprised if it's 3.3. I think it'd be lower.
Oh, really? What about, like, I/O stuff? I mean, I/O is still 3.3 pretty standard, right?
Yeah, but still, the core is... Well, whether or not it has its own internal, voltage reg to power the core, because just due to the process geometry of these things they're manufacturing, they're just lower voltage. So,
I know, like 0.9 volt cores these days and stuff like that.
And so it'd be, it probably wouldn't be 0.9. It'd be 1.2 or something like that. It'd be...
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd be surprised if the core is actually 3.3. But I stand to be corrected.
I mean, usually you spec out the quiescent current based on the input voltage, right? You don't do it based on the core voltage.
Of course. Yeah, no. It's unless they've got a switch-in reg to power the core. But if it's a linear internal, LDO reg, then you're going to have the same current from your source as you're going to have in your core. So,
no, I just mean that like don't you usually see specs though for quiescent current like at the input to the board? So it would if you have a switcher that's going from 3.3 down to 6 different core voltages, like one of those crazy 6 output chips.
Yeah.
It's usually still spec'd at the input 3.3, right? That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, right. Well, no, the data sheets will always actually break that down. If the data sheet if a chip's got 6 different voltage cores in it, then it's going to spec the current for each one.
Yeah, right. But then, like the top level spec, I would think would be at the input voltage. That's why this is all.
Oh well,
this is silly,
ultimately it has to be if you're calculating battery current and all that sort of stuff. But I don't think they would spec it. I don't think they'd spec it. I think that's up to you. So.
Well, we'll see what that is when people start using these projects. But yeah, fancy little chip. I mean, it runs Yocto, and I don't know. Yeah. I've been thinking about possibly using it for a project.
Okay,
cool. Well, that'd be good to test out.
Another one I can't talk about. So
you and your can't talk, man. Open source hardware, huh, Dave? Yeah.
Me and my can't talk about projects.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh no, it'd be open source hardware in the end, but I'm not going to tell you about it now.
No,
screw you.
Yeah. First time for free, next time you pay.
Right.
Speaking about being free and then paying, let's talk about Altium.
Right. You actually saw it. Well, you're ahead of the curve on me because I haven't actually played with it myself. So I've had a demo via Skype, but that was a week ago, and a lot's changed in a week, apparently.
Yeah. So, well, I talked to Ben and Max. So Max
Ben Jordan. Yep.
Yeah, right. Ben's an Aussie, right? He sounded Australian.
Yep. He is.
Both great guys. Got to see it. They showed me around. They showed me the website. Let me try it out. Or not the website, the software. And I quickly realized that I've only used Altium like 2 or 3 times now, and I'm really bad at it.
Right.
But it wasn't as bad as like when I used Designer, because then it was a lot harder. So, it's nice. It was nice. I mean, it would really.
Yeah. It certainly looks nice.
Yeah, you weren't lying. I mean, it's pretty full featured. All that stuff.
Yep. The devil is in the detail.
The devil's in the detail.
The devil is in 1 or 2 showstoppers,
Well,
can
and
it
so
save
the only
locally,
thing, Right, well, and so the only thing, I talked to them about this a little bit too, and the thing that they didn't talk about very well is that, like, basically it's kind of like the GitHub model, right? So it's like, and maybe you mentioned this and I just didn't pick it up either, but it's like default to community, everything's open source, right?
Everything's open, yes.
Right,
yes.
and that
and
also
if you want to keep it
footprints.
private, yes. And if you want to keep it private, I think the original intention was you can have one private project for free. And then if you want more private projects, you have to pay. So
pay for. See, that's the other thing I didn't understand is if you have to go up to a regular Ultimate Designer, if it's like the rent feature, like you mentioned.
No, it's a feature. Like everything in this, is a paid app model.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you need a couple of more private projects, you can just pay an extra $10-$20 for that. If you need 4 layers, you can pay $40, or
right. Well, and that wasn't put together very well then either, because like that is the way I would expect it, right? That's kind of like the GitHub model, right? And so that's great. And then so I asked about caching too, right? Because that's another thing that I was curious about with caching, if that was possible, right? So if I pull a project right off the community and then I start using it, and then I go on a plane, can I keep working on it, right? And you can. That was the answer. And that's
yes,
something.
you can. You can work locally, which is good.
Right. Well, no one has said that to me. Like that was part of the whole contention.
Somebody on the forum got a demo as well, and they mentioned the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
That you can. Yeah. So it is cached locally, but you can't save it locally, which is kind of it's.
Oh,
kind
so
of
if your
silly.
computer crashed while you're on a plane, you'd lose all your work.
Oh no, it'd be in a file, but it's not like you can go save as and save it to your C drive. You can't. It's cached in there somewhere in some who knows
some
what format,
obscure file format. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and the file's hidden away and it's named something weird.
Yeah, right.
And so it's but you can still work locally, so that does ease people's concerns a bit.
Yeah, no, I think so, and that's what mine was too, and so and so I was like trying to figure it out too, like with seeing what the response time was. Open up a project.
Can you do the libraries cached locally as well?
Well,
like
that's
if you're
question,
still working on the schematic, you can't because it's all built around. You can probably lay out your board locally, right? Because once you've designed your schematic and you've downloaded all your footprints, everything's there. You've done your board, then you can hop on your plane on your 15-hour trip, and you can
so
play out your board. But circuits are different because circuits, by their very nature, when you're designing the schematic, you have to look up data sheets. You have to go get footprints. You have to, get 3D models from the internet, all that sort of stuff. So you're really tied to the internet. So, a lot of people's complaints, I want to use everything locally. I don't want to connect to the internet at all. But come on, if you're designing something, if you're not connected to the internet, you're not designing, basically. Unless you're designing like little LED
What if you have
flashes
data books, Dave? I mean, come on, man. You might have data books.
Yeah, okay. You might have 1980 printed data books. Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, no, it's kind of tough to tell that too.
And all your projects are based on 7.4 series TTL.
That's right. Well, at that point, you do everything by memory, right? I mean, you're just going to remember all of the numbers and the specs of the different chips.
It's just so that concern is not warranted on the schematic side of things, I don't think. But once you get to the PCB, you want to sit there for a week laying out your board, and you don't want to have to be tied to the net when you're doing your board layout. That's just painful. Yeah.
Right, and it was tough to see too because how you go to trade shows and the internet's slammed, all the towers are slammed, and the provided Wi-Fi is crap, and it's just like it's just because there's so many people in an area, so that was tough too. But overall, I mean, I really did like it. It was nice. I mean, it seems really good. So power to them. What else did I see? Altium.
So what were all these 3D printers, by the way? Were they like new companies developing new 3D printers, or just everyone had one on their stand?
No, these
just
are companies. For fun. That was another interesting thing about this. So So it was kind of a different dynamic. Like, first off, it was much more spread out. I'd never been to New York before. Much more spread out just because they have more area. And it seemed like less personal projects, more people kind of selling stuff or talking about the companies.
Right. Yeah. Well, this is the World Maker Faire, right? So it's designed to showcase your product to the world, kind of thing. So it's kind of by its nature is kind of more geared towards companies are going to turn up. Startup companies are going to turn up, kind of thing. Yeah. So, anyway.
But the printers there was tons of companies. I don't know why. I'm sure that there's a reason to, but I have no idea who in 2014 is like, you know what? This is a good time to enter the 3D printing market.
I know. But it wasn't good 2 years ago, let alone now.
I don't know. But I never understood that. Like, some people do that, right? Some people are like, no, we really found something. This is just as true in the electronics industry. There are companies that will, enter the oscilloscope market at some point in the future and take on Keysight and and Tektronix.
Exactly.
And someone called him Keyhole this weekend, and I just lost it. Keyhole. I don't know why that was funnier to me.
Oh, that's great.
It sounded like a derogatory remark.
A common term going around is keyshite. Keyshite. A few people have started calling it. Yeah.
Anyways, we still like the scopes, guys. They're great scopes.
Yeah, but you were just begging for it with the name
don't like your
change.
logo through your branding, people.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyways, yeah, but people will come into the market, right? I mean, that is just the nature of competition. But I don't know, like when it's like, oh, so what does yours do? Well, it squirts it's a plastic out, and we are.
And it's $300 instead of $350.
Yeah, well, there's always that direction, and then like there's the do you make it cheaper? Or do you make it have more features? Do you have blah 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 blah? Is a better user experience?
Exactly.
Who cares? I still don't have one.
I know, no, just give up. Like there's basically going out a limb. There's no room left for a do-it-yourself 3D printer market.
There is. It's just.
Dude, there's already players there who are established. It's very little chance you're able to come in and do something, good there. I mean, the commercial ones are getting cheaper, and there's companies out there making kit ones. And
no, I mean, I really don't agree with that. There's always room for people, but what I'm saying is there's room in lots of other industries too. Why would you bother? Because the thing is that people keep.
You can't have it both ways there. You can't have it. You can't say, go ahead. There's plenty of room in there.
There's plenty of room because
plenty of room, or there's not.
No, there's plenty of room because the projected market size is growing, right? They're like, oh, well, more people want 3D printers for God knows what reason, right? Oh, people are going to print, shower curtain hangers and parts for their dishwasher.
So you can eke out your 0.01% of the market.
Right, and that market keeps getting bigger and bigger, right? I mean, this is the same thing. Like, why are there more Arduino clones? Why are there more, shields or capes for BeagleBone? Like, the market is generally growing, but you still need to stand out. And I don't think anything. It's really, really, it's becoming increasingly hard to stand out.
Yeah. Do you agree that it's basically a complete mugs game? It's a mugs game.
Yes,
if you enter that, or if you enter the Arduino Shield market, it's a mugs game.
Right. You might make it, you might not, but it's not a gold rush.
You might make a few bucks out of it, but it's not.
But some people thrive on that, right? I'm not. one of them.
No, sure, no. And if you want to do it, it's because you're enthusiastic about it. Hey, that's great. I'll fully support you. But if you're looking to make a real business out of it, it's got to be a mugs game. It has to be.
Yeah. Well, I think eventually, with like the Arduino Shield people, right? And like there is use for that, but I think generally, and kind of this whole group is kind of moving along together, right? You see more and more people moving from kits to finished goods types things. Lenore and Wendell from Evil Mad Science, right? They had the Eggbot kit, but now they also offer this beautifully machined and constructed Eggbot, right? Like it's really cool. It's a 2-dimensional CNC. But
in a fully built up one.
Yeah, and it's like metal and it's really accurate and nice and but that's to serve new markets, and I think that's kind of the direction it's going to go. So, as things go in that direction towards the more finished goods, sell stuff to consumers versus sell stuff to makers, if you're like then okay, I'm going to start a kit business, then you're going to you're coming in behind the crowd at that point. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't know. What do I know?
It's tough.
Dum-dum. So,
no, but that's a real thing. I mean, what is the future of kits? I mean, it's...
Well, you've seen this. You've seen this happen once, right? I mean, you've seen this happen with the computer stuff, right? It started as kits, and then No one wants kits anymore because why would you build a kit when you could just buy one and do cool stuff on it? So there's always going to be ebbs and flows.
The problem is, in the last 10 years, it is now so cheap and easy for anyone to get a board assembled. Like, it is actually cheaper and easier for me to sell a finished board, a finished, fully assembled board, than it is to sell the kit. So why, that is just a fact.
Yeah, right, because of the labor component to it.
Even when I get it assembled locally here in Sydney, right, with our, high standard of living, our high wages, it's still cheaper for me to sell a finished product than it is to sell a kit.
Yeah.
So why? I mean, it's just that's an unfortunate fact of the, assembly business these days. It's become so cheap to assemble stuff, whereas before,
that's also awesome,
you want to get something.
That's awesome.
Exactly. It's awesome, right? It's what's made this whole huge boom in, all this, every part of the industry you can name. It's because it's cheap and easy.
Yeah, the thing that's going to happen is that it's the same thing that happened in computers and everywhere else, right? It's going to move up market. It's going to be, you have to solve the harder problem now, which is, you're not just developing just a assembled board now, right? You're just developing a board plus an enclosure, and then a board plus enclosure plus, nice packaging material, and then
a nice user interface, and a nice
and yada yada
experience,
yada.
Exactly.
Right, and that's just natural, and then eventually it'll reset, and there'll be some other thing in the future, right?
Right.
Cool.
So the worst possible thing anyone can do is go into a business selling a kit 3D printer that's built on kit Arduinos. Is that what you're saying? That's like the double whammy.
It's not the worst thing they can do, but it's the worst thing they can do if they think they're going to get loaded. If they think they're going to be the next MakerBot doing that, you're going to be in the tough. It's just I think that there's different demands on the market now, right?
Right.
Cool. I've talked about 3D printers enough, except for one, because there was one that was frigging awesome. I don't know if you saw pictures of this thing. It was See Me CNC. It was a 15-foot Delta bot that was printing like garbage cans.
I've seen one of those large ones at the Sydney Faire a few months back. Yeah,
it was
like it's
awesome.
Yeah, I don't think it was that big. What 15? Yeah, this one was like 6 foot tall or something. It wasn't 15 foot. But there's a market for these large ones now.
It's just
really
cool stuff. I mean, like the mechanical stuff on it is
awesome.
really neat. I mean, it's just nicely put together machine. That's the cool part of it.
Yeah, it's great. So. I know. There's if you're going to get into the 3D printer niche market, get into that. Build ones that 30 foot high.
Oh yeah, the building ones. That's going to be a big one. I think if people figure out the 3D printed houses, that'll be really interesting. But
so at this point, they're not once you get to a certain scale, they're not actually extruding plastic. What you'll do is you'll have a feeder full of Lego blocks, and then it will just place Lego, because once you get down to that sort of you can build it with Lego blocks, and then it fuses them together, or something like that. I don't know, because the item's so big. Why do you need 100 microns?
Oh, you don't. No, and that would take
resolution,
forever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, this was like I don't know. It was bigger than toothpaste. I know that. Like the stream of stuff
This
out.
huge extruder. The extruder nozzles just get bigger and bigger until it's spitting out bloody Lego bricks, right?
Yep.
So that'd be great.
So I want to talk about.
I should patent that, or I should put that on Indiegogo.
Yes.
A 3D printer that actually spits out Lego bricks and builds Lego for you.
Yeah.
It's a Lego building robot.
I'm sure something.
That's Indiegogo flexible funding gold.
Lego people are crazy. I bet that already exists. They're crazy.
Yeah, probably. Someone's done. Yeah, I'm sure if you Google Lego pick and place machine or something, or Lego robot, it's Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk about one last thing about Maker Faire, and then I'll cut it off. And no, it was not the penis wall. That was ridiculous. But no,
wall.
You just look it up.
Anyway.
I'm not even going to link it.
Right.
It was
okay.
It was a PR stunt, in my eyes. It was anyways, no, it was Wayne and Lane. So we had Adam on the show in the past. So Wayne and Lane gave a demonstration of their pick and place machine. Remember the pick and place, the Chinese one?
The Chinese one, yep. The China where it costs like $4,000 or something like that.
Yeah, right. And so Ian got one of those, and I think did Mike Harrison get one as well? So Dangerous Prototypes got one. I know someone else got one, but now Wayne and Lane got one as well. And so they did a explanation about this. They did a talk about it, and just small run builds. But then the exciting thing was that there was already the existing script for. Exciting thing for me, maybe not everyone. There was an existing script for
nerd alert.
I know, of Eagle already. There's ULP, but now there's also a ChiCat thing that takes the output dot position file, the dot .pos, and
top piece of shit.
Yeah, and it works now for this whatever
manufacturers. Sorry.
Yeah, right. And so
stop being
works.
Childish, Dave.
So say we all. No, don't stop being childish, Dave. It's fun. But yeah, this is a great. I mean, so they showed video of it too, and I think they have the video on their website. I'll post it through. But I mean, that thing is like really kicking. I didn't realize how fast it could go.
Yeah, but hang on. Couldn't KiCad output pick and place files to begin with? What's the? Yeah,
right. So this is taking a plugin now.
What's the deal?
So now KiCad has a Python scripting engine. And so basically now this is building on top of the scripting engine. This is a Python script that does it specifically for this machine because it's becoming more popular among people, and it seems like a pretty good low-cost option. Lower cost, maybe not low cost.
Well, lower, no, it's still expensive. To get one here in Australia, it's like $5,000.
Well, that's what they paid, yeah.
Landed, yeah. And that's a lot of money, Once it comes down to one or maybe two, if it's sort of like under $2,000, that puts it in
maybe.
a better ballpark.
So here's the thing. The thing I didn't realize about this is that it doesn't have feeders on it. So it has feeders, but they're built in. You don't have to buy separate feeders, right? And that's a big cost. So we had Ryan, obviously I talked to him when I saw him, but when we had him on the show, he talked about the cost of feeders, right? That's a big cost, especially if you're talking about keeping stuff on feeders. That's a big investment. It's like $500 a feeder because they're really fancy looking things.
No, this thing just uses the needle to pull it along, doesn't it? Pulls the tape along.
No. That was
something.
There was one that was like Red Frog. Was that the one?
Oh, okay. All right.
There was a different one that was like something frog.
Right.
But that one pulled along with the needle. No, this one actually pulls it based on tape, and it actually undoes it pulls the plastic off the tape, and then it advances the tape.
Okay. So it has a motor for each, but it's got to have a separate spot for each reel, and then a separate motor for each reel that pulls the tape for each reel.
I wish I knew more about that. I really don't. But they showed it in action, and it seemed to work. So.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I've heard it works well if that fits your niche little requirement. Yeah. Then I've heard it's not a bad little pick and place machine. So they've just done a script that makes it easier, rather than use the software that comes with the machine and you have to read in the pick and place file and then convert it and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, right. So basically, it's kind of creating workflows for machines that are likely for, small business, hobbyist level.
For small business, of course. Yeah, and that's a perfect one to target, of course.
Yeah. So I was very impressed. Right. It seemed like placement was pretty decent, and there's some hacks, but I think that that's the other thing too. It's like you see this kind of stuff, and you see people coalescing around like a certain platform or a certain type of thing that's available, and like a certain type of 3D printer as well or whatever.
Oh yeah, of course.
Or Eagle, right, is a good example, right? That was people coalesced around that. And you start to see that, and you can kind of see how things are going, because then people, another person buys one, they put some work into it, and basically these small sub communities build up around a certain type of tool or software or something. Right. So I just thought that was really cool. So
all right.
Another feather in the cap for KiCad. Obviously, I'm biased, but
somebody, I can name them. Alexander Hyam just asked on Twitter during the show here, so we've got live tweets coming through. Your questions are coming through live. with a 50-minute delay, but before we actually answer them. But anyway,
This
50
is
minutes ago,
Sleepless
he
in
tweeted, "Did you see the pick and paste machine at the Maker Faire?"
Well, so I was wondering about that. I think he might be talking about the crud. I forget the name of it. There was the one that had the printed ink, the 3-in-1. You know, it printed the circuit and then it Squink.
Right?
That's
yeah,
it. Yeah, Squink.
Right.
So I saw that in person, and that was actually really the resolution on the print head stuff, like the silver nitride ink or whatever it was, or silver ink.
Yep.
Yeah, that was quite impressive actually. And then that uses the conductive paste, but I'm not sure about the desktop pick and place paste.
Paste.
Pick and paste.
Not place. Paste. I've done a video on these as well. We actually had one of these at Altium, where like a high end one. It cost like $20,000 or something.
Okay.
And
and like it had like a syringe
exactly
where it does the actual like
exactly what the name says. Yeah,
Okay.
You put a syringe in it, and it it's got a vacuum pump, and it dispenses a set amount of paste.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting. No, so I had never seen this before, and I'm sure you have, right? Because you've been to a lot of board houses too. Have you ever seen the ones that actually do that, but it's not like a syringe? It's like a printer. It's like a legit printer, and it just flies. It's like they're like $500,000 or something crazy like that. But like,
Oh right, no,
instead
I
of
haven't seen those in action. Yeah.
Oh my God, I saw when we were in Detroit. We went to a manufacturing facility up there, and I was like my jaw was literally dropped.
Yeah.
I mean, like this thing, because like so the benefits of like a stencil system is you just drop this one stencil and then you squeegee and then you're done, right? There's obviously issues with that.
That's right.
But the difference is like if the squeegee method is like in photolithography where you take one shot and it's done, it would be like the paste printer is like doing like a rastered type of thing where you have to drop each one.
Straight along. Yeah.
But man, they did a whole panel in like a minute, and they could do like 0.4 millimeter.
That's still
BGA.
slower than a squeegee machine. I've got some video on my channel of a squeegee machine actually working. The board comes along, pops up, thing comes down, the squeegee goes across, and it takes like 10 seconds a board. Or
right.
something.
No, no, and that's true. I mean, and I don't know the exact time, but it's definitely longer. But the difference is you never have to wait for stencils, right? That's the difference.
Yeah, no. Of course, bang, go.
Yeah, it's just the file.
I know.
I'm sure there's a lot of nuance there, but it's just the file.
Yep.
And then you program it in. That's the crazy thing.
And then if you want to change it, if somebody comes along, oh no, we goofed. I want to change it. I don't want any paste there. I changed my revision board. Bang.
Exactly. If you're having like tombstoning, you got too much in an area, it's now like you just turn down that parameter.
Yep.
So
you can dial it back. That's right. Yeah, magic.
I still haven't done
and that's why they cost $500,000.
Right, of course.
machines.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're basically and that allows you to be like thinking about a CM, right? They have lots of clients and lots of different boards.
CM being a contract manufacturer.
Sorry.
For those who don't know.
Yeah, thank you.
There's a lot of people who complain that we don't explain our acronyms and stuff.
Yeah, sorry. But you think about, so maybe one client like Dave might send you 4 different revisions of 3 different boards, right? And you start to get towards like 20, 30 stencils, and then you have 100 clients.
Exactly.
And then then you have a stencil room.
And you have to store all these, and they can have tens of thousands of stencils that they have to store.
Yeah, right. And then I was talking to I talked to the guys from MacroFab, which is kind of a new like low run service that's starting up, and they were talking about that too, like storing on the stencil frame or off the frame. I didn't quite understand that. I think it's because of the structure that you need to actually support like a stainless steel one, right? Like a stainless stencil.
Yep.
So. Yeah. Lots of manufacturing goodness, right? So I think that's all I've got.
Pick and paste. As regards to the pick and paste, I don't know. It's like stencils are so easy and you can get them cheap. They're a mile, but once again, it's a turnaround time thing. So if you really want to have, I've got my own PCB router, it routes out my boards, and then I've got the, the pick and paste stuff, and then I've got the pick and place, and I can make a board from go to woe in a day. And it's like, well, okay, Yep.
Yeah, right,
That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all about.
Are you that desperate, to get a board today?
Right, right. If you are, you're probably doing something wrong, right? You're doing something wrong. You're doing it in such low volume that you probably should be doing,
right.
the.
Or you can just hand solder the thing.
Yeah, well, that's the other one too.
Or just exactly. Right.
Well, maybe not for the smallest stuff, but I don't know. Maybe in that case, then you buy a laser cutter and cut your own stencils or something. Because then you also have a laser cutter, and that's sweet. I don't know.
Nah. Yep. What else have we got? No, we're almost out of time.
We are almost out of time. Ben Heck wanted us to talk about modular cell phones. I thought I did ask on Twitter and about what we should talk about this week, and I usually do that before we start the show. Ben, I haven't seen a working one yet, but I think they're going to be. I think modular. Isn't
this old news? Didn't this come up a year or two back? The modular cell phone.
Well, we talked about the Aura. That's a thing. But it's getting
sure
closer
we've done
to.
It on here before.
No, we've talked about it a little bit. The cost of the. You have to pay for the overhead of the fanciest lines and stuff like that. So, I don't know. Just going through the Twitter thing. What about the rest of the the rest of the subreddit though? We only have so many lists here, right? So.
Right. Oh, dear. People want to know how they can rank their favourite Amp Hour episodes.
That was a good question, actually. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. Our podcast provider doesn't have a ranking thing, do they?
No. Well, and it's there's so many different places it goes. I was thinking we could try and post them all to a different subreddit, and then people could up or down vote them there, just because that's kind of built in. But then someone's got to do that.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Right, yeah, somebody. Yeah.
Right. Somebody.
Copy and paste all. Well, it's only 200 copy and paste, isn't it?
216.
Something
right,
copy
right.
and paste.
Yeah, I'm sure we probably wouldn't get marked as spammers or anything.
Right. 216 coming up to our 255th episode. We're going to flip to that
the next text
ninth bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big deal. We're going to have to get someone special. Speaking of which, I'm coming up to my, in 1 or 2 videos, coming up to my 666th episode.
You're doing numerology now, huh, Dave? Yeah.
Yeah, well, people wanted me to do something, number of the beast and all that sort of rubbish. They wanted me to do something special. And I do actually have a good idea for it. But I'm not sure if I'm definitely not going to be able to tee it up in time. So, but if I can tee it up, I want it to be the 666th episode, just because you'll see if it comes off. And yeah. Anyway, so I don't know. Do I skip that number, or do I? What?
I don't know.
If there's a chance I might be able to. I don't know. Anyway,
I really don't care.
Really annoying.
I'm sorry.
I know. Nobody cares but me. I'm just, yeah. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there. Anyway, if it is going to happen, it's not going to happen in time. So, because I'm doing my 665th video today, so it's a teardown. So, yeah. So unless I can shoot this by the end of the week. Yeah, I'm going to have to either skip it or just do a nothing video for 666.
I've got one more thing about Maker Faire. I'm sorry. Because it's actually not exclusive to Maker Faire, but I see this in kind of a lot of tech type thing. They were at DEF CON too. It was basically obviously I have a lot of opinions about this too, but engineering education. Basically there was a college there that was talking about their programs, but it was like a small engineering college, and it's these kind of, it seems like generic degrees, but I could be wrong about that. I'm not going to say their name just because I don't want to be totally wrong about that. But
right.
I wonder about that. So what that kind of educational situation's like, because it could be much better, right? I mean, it could be like these are actually hands-on types of programs, but then I also think about how much the educational aspect, like, or the name aspect of a education sometimes matters as well.
God, it's a huge can of worms, and it varies from country to country and state to state and school to school, and it's hard to talk about it generically.
Well, no, and what I'd really be wondering about is, like, if there's people in the audience that have an experience with, like, so, like, the exact experience I'd be interested in is, they were at a trade show, they wanted to make a career change or something else, they went through a program, it was a positive, or, and basically what the experience is, positive or negative. Basically, that's kind of trying to crowdsource an idea there. I just don't know. Like, I think about these kind of things, like, I'm guessing they were trying to go for like high school students that might be thinking about it. But
it's no different to having the Navy they're recruiting. Like, join the Navy.
Well, that's a little different, though.
Is it?
Yeah, that's pretty different.
I've heard of that happening, actually. Because
no, I mean they do that. Yeah,
be an engineer in the Navy, or the Army or the Air Force or whatever, and they will turn up to engineering. shows. And
I mean, every time I go to a job fair, they're always there because that's a post-secondary type thing.
They're targeting those people who are interested, yet sort of don't know how to get in the field, and they might think, hey, I'll go join the Navy. That's a good option. It worked for the village people.
Really, that's what you're going with. You're going with the village people, Dave?
I don't know. Oh, goodness. Anyway, well, they said it's a good thing, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Dave.
Sorry to anyone who has a good career in the Navy. And
right.
Sorry,
or
just
village people fans, of course, right?
Right, our village people fans.
Yeah, right. Of course, you don't want to.
I don't mind the village people. I've seen them live.
Oh,
I've seen the village people live in concert.
Dude.
Yeah, hello.
That's good. That's good.
Yep. Anyway.
Well, so I would be interested in hearing from people if they went through if they heard about a program like that, went through the program, and then what their experiences were. So please do hit us up in the comment section. I am talking to you guys specifically. You people who have been through those programs. So
cool.
Yeah. I also I hung out with another. So like I said, there was a lot of former guests there. It was great.
Keep name dropping. Come on.
Yeah. Well, Jason Kreidner was there. He said a lot of the events with Beaglebone type stuff.
Yep.
Ian Danaher, the Nonolith Labs.
Yep.
Trey
by
German.
the way, you'll like this. There's a new crowdsource funded Shmoo.
Another one, yeah. Where?
Yes, it's not released yet, but their website is up. And
what's the website?
I tweeted it. I think, or where did I? No, it's on my forum, so I will get it up.
Okay.
Yes, it's there.
See, now people have to go to the website. We do have a website still, people. Did you know this? Yeah, it's still a thing.
Yeah, you'll have to go to the
And if people are confused, if you're just on the front page, it's not just that there's a play button now. You click on the title and you go to the show notes.
Right.
Yeah.
Where is it?
I'll keep listing people. Trey German was there, and
right. So you keep on name dropping while I.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who else I saw. So Ryan was there. Crap. That might be it. I don't know. Yeah, it was a good crowd though. I don't know. It's always a good crowd. That's the reason to go, right? So,
all right.
I think the only problem is that I didn't tell people where I was going beforehand, so. We didn't have like an amp hour meetup or anything like that, but maybe next time. Haven't done one of those in a while.
Yep.
I just did a video with Martin. That's kind of what brought this up.
Yes, I've seen that. Watched it.
Someone was surprised, or I forget who was online. They said I actually was talking about electronics, which is different. But Martin's been going over his power supply project, and we went over the voltage feedback section.
Yep,
so,
I saw that.
Yeah, a little control theory. Not really theory so much as control hand waviness, but it was fun. It was fun doing that kind of thing.
I've got it.
Yep. What is it? You don't have it, do you?
It's called the Extralin. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Hang on. Here we go. Here we go, dude. I'll give it to you.
XTRA.
XTRALIEN. So, Extralian.
Oh, I hate it already.
So it's like extra alien, or it's like rhymes with Australia. Extralian.
Cool. Look at that.
Anyway, it's coming in October or something. Yeah, it's a source measure unit. I thought you'd be interested in that.
I am interested in that.
And it hooks up to Ethernet and goes down to 100 picoamp resolution or something, 200 nanovolts, 100 picoamps, plus minus 10 volts. Yeah.
The Atmel on board looks like. They have a real picture, too.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's going to be... well, that looks like an older prototype, I think. But
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone about test equipment and why, the ever-present question of why isn't there open source DMM? And
right, yeah. That comes up on the forum.
I can solve that pretty much in a couple words. It's supply chain. Like, that is it. You need, for DC stuff, you need high-quality components. Like, there's no tricks you can do. There's no balancing you can do. I mean, there is stuff you can do, but that's just to make, that's just averaging and stuff like that. There's still going to be... Yeah,
it's not just that. It's the fact that there's already so much choice out there in commercial products.
Yeah, that too.
And if you're talking about DMM, you're talking about safety, rugged, reliability, all that sort of stuff you find in my reviews, that I'm, fussing over. Yeah. Sort of, and you're going to have, it's open source, it's in a generic plastic case which clips together and it's got,
Well, I think
it's fun. It's just an educational exercise, but
no, because that's a good point. Because then when it comes down to it, right, you can ask someone, "Do you want to buy an open source DMM?" And they say yes, and then you say, "Do you want to pay $800 for an equivalent to a $100 DMM off the shelf?" And they say no, right? That's
which isn't as rugged and isn't safety rated and isn't doesn't have the type approvals, blah blah blah.
Yeah, so that's I think that's still a supply chain thing. I think a little slip
yeah, basically. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But this looks interesting. I mean, there is stuff you can do with source meter units that's interesting, especially like digital control stuff. So.
Anyway, in the end, it's basically all about the user interface and the software that comes with it. Fairly much. Like, if it doesn't come with anything, then it's like, you've got to script it and, do all that. My enthusiasm's just dropped to zero. Yeah, I'll probably get one, but if it's, if it doesn't come with good software, it's like, it just ruins the experience. You want to be able to take it out of the box, push a button and get a response of your LED, or your transistor or whatever. You just, yeah.
You're saying this about the source?
Yeah,
the SMU?
Like, and any.
I guess, it doesn't have any other interface on it, so you kind of have to, right?
Even your Keithleys and your Agilents, right? If they don't come with easy-to-use software, the tool's great for your advanced use, and you've got a month where you can write a custom program to do what you want. But no, if you just want to characterize a transistor, then, I expect it to do that. It's sort of like,
you want to just click a button and characterize.
I want to click a button and there and sweep, and there comes the proper. There comes. It's all scaled for you. Everything's fine and everything's done, and Yeah,
I guess that is the point of differentiation for sure, right? But that's entering a market that's not.
When I use I use the Agilent one, right, and it was pretty non-obvious how to do that. It did it in the end, like as you saw in my Apollo video where I did I got some curves from my Agilent, source measure unit. Wasn't obvious. It did do it, but sort of like extracting teeth.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's built for features. It's not built for usability, and that's a big difference. It's not built
for consumer usability. It's built for people who know what they want to do and they want to do some custom job with it.
Right.
And that's what I'm afraid this one might be. So
maybe,
anyway.
maybe we'll see. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, no, totally.
Cool.
I don't know how much it's going to be, but
that'll be interesting.
There you go. All right, we're way over time.
We are.
Unless you want to name drop some more.
No, I'm good on that. I'm just looking at this. I got a little caught up here. I'm already dicing this up with my eyeballs, wondering about how they're doing it.
Right. Yeah.
If they're listening, you should call us.
And
cool.
there goes your day.
Yeah, right.
You're just going to be poring over this, aren't you?
Yeah, my day starting at 9:20 p.m.
Oh, shmoo.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a shmoo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shmoo.
I'm going to print this out and go have some quiet time.
I like how you add the SCH at the beginning. Shmoo.
We're a bunch of sad nerds, aren't we?
We are, yeah. You know, okay, so that's the last thing I'll say. Being in New York City is weird and kind of nice, right? Like, the nice thing, the weird thing is obviously seeing people beyond my wife and dogs.
Right.
And, yeah.
And you're seeing 10 million of them.
Right, yeah, and just being around that's a mass of people. And then the other nice thing about that is, like, you know, I talk to you, I talk to people that know me all the time now. Like, I've really constrained my world to people that know me and people on Twitter that talk to me and stuff like that. And it's like, you go to a city then, it's like, no one knows anyone, you know? That's,
exactly.
It's weird and it's different and it's a little frightening, but it's also kind of cool. Right. I don't know. It's just a good reset on the old ego, you know what I mean?
Right.
No one cares about me and no one needs to.
Oh, dear.
Cool, man. So yeah, we'll try and dig up a guest for next week. Yeah.
Literally dig him up out of the grave.
That's right. Yes. On the show next week, Claude Shannon talking about information theory.
Catch you next time.
See ya. I really hope his name is Claude Shannon.
Yeah. Where did you pull him out of?
I was gonna say like or then my brain's like,
so was I, and then I was gonna say
don't
no,
say that.
don't
say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be worse than saying penis wall.
No, right.